Hi, I'm Jeanette Roche. This is Bridge City News. Here are some of the top stories we've been following today. Coming up on Bridge City News, Albertans gather to show support as separatist group Stay Free Alberta submits collected signatures to Elections Alberta. Plus, death at sea. At least 3 people are dead and others sickened after contracting Hantavirus on a cruise ship in the Atlantic. And it's May the 4th, and you know what that means. May the 4th be with you. On this Star Wars Day, we show you the lengths some people go to celebrate the day and the nearly 50-year franchise.
Your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News with Jeanette Roche.
Thanks so much for joining us. Alberta flags were on display Monday in Edmonton as people from across the province gathered to show support for an independent Alberta. One of the leaders of the group, Stay Free Alberta, Mitch Sylvester, was to submit petitions containing thousands of signatures, signifying their support of the province's separation from Canada. The group is claiming to have collected more than 300,000 signatures on its petition. Mitch Sylvester says the number is a clear signal that should prompt the addition of a question on separation on the October referendum ballot. Prime Minister Mark Carney says it's his strong personal view that the international order will be rebuilt and that it will be rebuilt out of Europe. He made the comments this morning in Armenia, where he's attending the European Political Community Summit. The gathering is focused on strategic cooperation in politics, security, and infrastructure.
A lot's happened in the last 12 months, and some of it we saw coming, but more of it has occurred. And the importance of alliances with reliable partners, deepening those alliances has become ever more so. I list very quickly all the ways we're working with the European Union already. Right here in Armenia, as monitors, only non-European country doing that. We're the only non-European member of SAFE, which is a defense arrangement very good for Canadians, Canadian business, because it makes us stronger. We have these partners we can work directly, good for our businesses, defense businesses there.
During the Leaders' Summit, the Prime Minister met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, where he announced that the Canadian government will be $270 million will give that much money, that is, to help Ukraine secure critical military capabilities in its defense against Russia's more than 4-year-old full-scale invasion. The money will go toward buying items from a NATO list and brings Canada's total monetary support for Ukraine to $25.8 billion. The federal government is also rolling out $1.5 billion in tariff relief. That includes a new $1 billion program under the Business Development Bank of Canada to bolster the manufacturing sector, and a $500 million top-up to the Regional Tariff Response Fund. The new program is meant to shore up factories that export products containing steel, aluminum, and copper, and comes in response to the United States widening its tariff criteria last month.
Here's how we will be organizing our support. So the BDC will be offering favorable terms for 3-year loans. The loans will be between $2 million up to $50 million. The first year will be 0 interest rate, and afterwards, year 2nd and 3rd will be very low rates. There will be no repayment for the entire 3 years, only actually interest to be paid on these loans, and at the end of the 3-year, that's when repayment will be asked.
Officials say the measures aim to protect jobs and help companies adapt as tariff changes disrupt production and threaten layoffs. CUSMA trade talks is on the horizon, and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the Prime Minister should tell Canadians what bargaining chips the country has in those trade negotiations with the U.S. after Carney rejected the characterization of energy and critical minerals as leverage for the renewal of CUSMA.
So if energy and minerals are not going to be leverage for Canada in these negotiations, what leverage does Mr. Carney claim to have? He's already made a bunch of unilateral concessions and gotten absolutely nothing in return except double the tariffs on Canadian steel, aluminum, and lumber. And now he can't tell us what leverage we have, what demands he's making, what tariffs he wants to get removed, and when and if he will even get a deal at all. So it's all been an illusion with Mark Carney. Of course, our energy and minerals should be positive leverage in these negotiations. Let's be clear, we're never going to cut our American allies off of our energy or selling our resources. They buy twice as much as the rest of the world combined buys from Canada. We can offer in the negotiations to build up our resources in a way that helps our continental security, that keeps both of us safe, strong, and rich. I was just yesterday at Port Coburn's refinery of cobalt, and where they refine cobalt and nickel. They make enough cobalt there for 75,000 F-35 fighter jets, to put it into perspective. If that's not leverage, I don't know what is. What I want to do is build up a massive strategic reserve of our energy and our minerals and use that as leverage to get tariff-free access to the United States economy, the most lucrative economy anywhere on Earth.
In international news, 3 people have died and others have been sickened by what health authorities suspect is a Hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship in the Atlantic Ocean. We find out more about Hantavirus in this Associated Press report.
At least 3 people have died and others have been sickened after a suspected Hantavirus outbreak on a cruise ship in the Atlantic Ocean. The ship was on a polar cruise from Argentina to Antarctica. It requested help from local health authorities after traveling to the island of Cape Verde. The cruise company Ocean-Wide Expeditions said it was still dealing with a serious medical situation on board the ship. Hantaviruses are a family of viruses primarily found in rodents. It's mainly spread to humans by inhaling airborne particles of their urine, saliva, or droppings. And it can cause 2 illnesses.
Depending on which type of the virus infects you, it generally causes either a pulmonary syndrome, a chest infection, and the mortality rate from that's quite high, up to about 30%, give or take. And a renal hemorrhagic fever with renal syndrome, which mortality rate's a bit lower, maybe about 10%.
There's no specific treatment or cure, but early medical attention can increase chances of survival. The best way to avoid the germ is to minimize contact with rodents and their droppings. Use protective gloves and a bleach solution for cleaning up rodent droppings. Public health experts caution against sweeping or vacuuming, which can cause the virus to get into the air.
Albertans of the Christian faith from across the province gathered in Red Deer today for the Alberta Christian Leadership Summit. Folks came together at Westerner Park to hear from political leaders who share their beliefs and say Christians should be playing a larger role in the public square. A Central Alberta pastor attending the summit, who served for a time as mayor of the town of Bentley, says Christians need to be more involved in communities.
I was very, very careful for 14 years. Now I'm back to being just a pastor. I've done that for 52 years. And so you don't use your position. And I think that's really important that we're there to work as a community. So we changed the name to Bentley Community Church. We're common unity, working together as a community. But it means that we have to be involved and know what's going on. I think it's really important that we get involved in community, and council, as school boards, all these things. We've complained about the way things have gone, but we haven't done anything about it. So I promote and encourage people, get involved, know what's happening. We can't blame people for what they're doing if we haven't contributed. So I just think I'm encouraged going back to just pastoring and driving school bus still. Have that one for 30 years, but really getting to know the people, becoming community, not just church-oriented, community-oriented, and that's what the Christianity is all about.
About 30 organizations set up in the exhibitor space to garner attention and show their support. The Alberta Home Education Association says this event is not a call to activism, but rather to leadership in our communities.
I think it's a call for all of us, even as residents of Alberta, to take back the tasks that we've been given and that we've just let fall. and then all of a sudden we're struggling trying to raise our children in this atmosphere, and it's getting more and more difficult, and we're losing our country on account of it. And I think it's a call, activism in one way. It's not it's more of let's do our task and let's help each other.
Several government ministers, including Premier Danielle Smith, attended the summit. BCN was the only visual media allowed inside initially. Organizers say other media were excluded because politicians who are believers wanted an opportunity to speak freely without stirring up political controversy. Sunday marked 10 years since a massive wildfire forced the evacuation of Fort McMurray, destroying hundreds of homes and forever changing how Canadians deal with disaster. The fire started 2 days before the evacuation. The community was on alert, but no one expected the evacuation to hit so hard, and no one can forget the terrifying images from when shifting winds pushed the blaze towards Fort McMurray, fueled by dry spring conditions. The inferno jumped fire guards, the river, and the highway, forcing more than 80,000 residents to leave in one day, the largest evacuation in Canadian history. And speaking of which, the province of Alberta says it's set for the 2026 wildfire season with trained crews and prepared equipment. More than 550 seasonal firefighters were hired, and it says hundreds more are accessible through contracts and mutual aid agreements as needed. Minister of Forestry and Parks Todd Loewen was in Sturgeon County Monday morning to introduce the mutual aid incentive pilot for the 2026 season.
Through this pilot program, municipalities receive up to $125,000 credit to support wildfire response and encourage earlier mutual aid requests when fires threaten to exceed local capacity. The goal is straightforward: reduce immediate financial pressures, remove barriers that may delay decision-making, and improve wildfire outcomes through faster, coordinated response.
In March, Alberta announced a $400 million contract with de Havilland Canada for 5 new made-in-Alberta water bombers. Together, these tools will improve safety, effectiveness, and coordination between air and ground crews. And while on the topic of safety, this is Emergency Preparedness Week across Canada. The City of Lethbridge and the county are reminding residents of the importance of being prepared for emergencies before, during, and after they happen. This year's theme is In It Together, which highlights the important role the community connections play in emergency preparedness. In this region, the West is particularly susceptible to wildfires, but it's also important to be ready for other types of disruptions that can affect any community, such as floods, severe weather, and power outages.
Big piece that we are encouraging people is to be prepared. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be nice and easy. All you need to do is make those connections with your neighbors, with your communities. Part of our preparedness is to have our emergency command system training. When we look at our counterparts to the north right now, we are seeing some overland flooding from ice jams, as well as over the weekend there was 2 major wildfires. So I think that also is a huge perspective. So being prepared now ahead of hazard season is going to be the most impactful.
In our specific plans and our specific awareness, we look at flooding, we look at fires, any activity that we would see sort of in southern Alberta generally, we look at incorporating into our plans and our awareness. We do have a new fillable emergency action plan this year that residents can pick up at any of the engagements out as we're throughout the community or stop by City Hall.
When we think of our kits and our emergency preparedness and things like that, we think of like high winds or hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, different things like that. But there's so many other things. People do get evacuated from fires. Like you said, we had it twice this year. So by having those kits ready to go, you can quickly grab them and go do what you have to do. It's like talking like inside your home, what you can do. So important to have a working fire extinguisher in your home. A fire blanket's good if all of a sudden you have something on your stove that catches fire, you can quickly throw it on it. Or maybe a garbage can, you can smother it with a fire blanket. But other than that, you still want a working fire extinguisher in your home. Gets into the smoke detectors and CO detectors. All this stuff works together to keep you safe. The risk is there. Unfortunately, we have accidents every year. Just be prepared to have a good time, but just pay attention to what you're doing.
By the way, Emergency Preparedness Week runs from May 3rd through the 9th. It's never a bad thing to get help and take advantage of this digital age. And knowing that, the City of Lethbridge has launched the Digital Helper. This 311 chatbot tool provides quick answers to frequently asked questions about city programs and services. Travis Hillier with the city says this is an extension of its live chat function. He says the chatbot now answers questions 24/7, 365.
The 311 chatbot is attached to our live chat functionality on lethbridge.ca, so on the city's website. And what a citizen, a customer, a resident, a visitor to our community is able to do is engage with that chatbot on lethbridge.ca and ask questions about general programs and services here at the City of Lethbridge. To share with you a personal example that I used it for this week, I'm looking to install a new shed on my property. I went to the city's website and was able to type in, tell me what I need to know about installing a new shed, and the chatbot was able to provide me information about permits that I may or may not need, setbacks from property lines, and then provided me links to other additional information on the city's website so that I was able to be informed. If you as a citizen have questions about your City of Lethbridge accounts or things specific to your property, that's where you'd want to speak with one of our customer service specialists. So
the city is asking residents to participate in naming the new Digital Helper chatbot by submitting suggestions through Get Involved Lethbridge until May 15th. It'll be interesting to see some creative names pop up there. After 7 years of operating deficits, the Lethbridge Senior Citizens Organization says its financial reserves are dangerously thin. Their building is owned by the city, and the organization pays $205,000 in annual rent. Last Thursday, Executive Director for the organization, Caitlin Weaver, presented to the Community Issues Committee a request to pause 3/4 of that amount, which is about $150,000, to be forgiven. She says the alleviated pressure would help the LSEO's fundraising efforts and allocate funds to replenish their reserves, as well as provide unrestricted revenue.
We were really, really grateful to be able to present on our position and what we're doing to alleviate the problem internally by reducing expenses, increasing revenue, increasing attendance, increasing donations, which we've all seen really good success over the last year. And so being able to ask City Council to consider a rent pause for this organization and for them to take it in a very supportive way was really, really helpful.
Weaver adds the LSEO is running a fundraising campaign called Support Our Seniors to offset their financial shortfalls. You can make a charitable donation to the LSEO by donating online through canadahelps.org, or you could send a check or stop by the LSEO. The rent pause request will be taken to the June 10th and 11th budget deliberations. May the 4th be with you on this May the 4th. Star Wars premiered nearly 50 years ago, if you can believe that, and fans still go crazy over May the 4th and explain why the franchise has stuck with them and the significance that they've placed on the movies and the characters.
Star Wars means to me? Well, that's a great question. It's very meaningful, that's for sure, in terms of my career and being exposed to a lot of the fans.
My father is an incredible Star Wars guy. He took my mother to the opening of A New Hope, the very first Star Wars, as their first date. And Mom somehow still married him.
My older brother was a big fan, and I always wanted to be like him. And then when I met my husband, we both loved Star Wars, and we just really kept it as a tradition as a family, and started off as these babies as baby Ewoks, and it got a lot of attention, and then we just kind of continue doing Star Wars almost every year.
It's been like a big part of my life for as long as I can remember. And I love like learning about the characters, and I love all the stories, and it's just, I love nerd things.
Star Wars is really just about, it's hard to explain, because average citizens that fight back against the oppressive government. It was just so much fun watching all the big battle scenes and all the lights, and it was great, and it was so much fun as a child, and you wanted to be that and emulate that and play like that. And as an adult, you you learn to see the similarities between what's happening in your own lives and like the world around you and what you're seeing in the Star Wars world. So
and you also get to emulate it.
Yeah, right? We're still dressing up and making our characters.
Until we can't come to the con anymore.
Right? I will be in a wheelchair. I will still be doing it.
Not good for her. Who doesn't love Star Wars? Good fighting evil. Oh, it's such good stuff. And getting in on that tradition here at Miracle Channel, one of our crafty coworkers decided it would be funny to surprise us all by decorating the office space with these witty little notes and pictures and quotes from the movie. Oh yeah, she gave us lots of stuff to laugh at today. There we go, the forest is being monitored. She had it on the outside of our building. She had it at the bathrooms. Okay, wait till you see some of the bathroom pictures here. We have, may the flush be with you, use the force, wash your hands. We even she got the break room and on a piece of the action. She had little Princess Leia cinnamon buns and light and dark side cookies. It was hilarious. Anyways, we have some very creative people working here. That was our donor relations gal, Tess Bridges, who did that. So ingenious, she's just clever. Loblaw is stepping deeper into artificial intelligence with a new partnership aimed at streamlining how it builds and deploys AI tools. The grocery and pharmacy giant has signed on with the Canadian firm Shakudo to create a unified platform for developing and running AI applications across the company. Senior Vice President Charu Pujari says the shared platform will eliminate redundant work and let teams focus on solving business problems. Loblaw says the approach will help scale AI more efficiently across its operations, including its Loblaws and Shoppers Drug Mart brands. Canada's heavy equipment manufacturers will likely see uneven growth this year. A new report for the Association of Equipment Manufacturers says the construction sector is being hit by a housing slowdown, while a push for mining projects could increase demand. It found the sector as a whole generated $54 billion in direct and indirect sales last year. That's up from $48.7 billion when the study was last done in 2022. And with that, here's a look at today's markets.
The TSX was down 252 to 33,638. The Dow was down 557 to 48,941. The S&P 500 was down 29 to 7,200. And the Nasdaq was down 46 to 24,067. West Texas Intermediate oil was up 308 to 105.02 US per barrel. Natural gas was up 7 cents to 285 US. Gold was down 89.13 to 45.2337 US an ounce, and silver was down 2.45 to 72.11 US an ounce. Feed wheat is at $8.63 per bushel. Barley is at $7.01. Canola is at $17.34. And corn is at $7.75 per bushel. Live cattle June contract was down $1.25 to $251.75. Feeder cattle were down $4.80 to $366.60. And lean hogs were down $1.20 to $91.62. And the Canadian dollar was down over the past 24 hours and sits at 73.40 US.
Recapping one of today's top stories, the group Stay Free Alberta has submitted its petition signatures to Elections Alberta. The separatists say they have submitted nearly 302,000 signatures to trigger a referendum on leaving Canada, well above the required threshold. Premier Danielle Smith has said that a vote will proceed if the petition is verified, but the effort faces a legal challenge from First Nations groups arguing separation would violate treaty rights. Trade talks between Canada and the United States and Mexico are coming up. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Carney has made efforts into expanding trade partnerships with other nations, as some say Canada is too dependent on trade with the U.S. Jack Finlayson, senior fellow with the Fraser Institute, will give us some insights. That is coming up next. Also, when you see news happening in your community, be sure to send us an email at info@bridgecitynews.ca. You can also visit our website or our YouTube channel anytime to check out more of our content as well as our poll questions.